Hi, good morning guys, thanks for joining me. What I thought we'd do in today's video is talk about a new little knife which we just recently purchased, and that's this, the Mora Eldris. So we'll just have a quick close up of the Eldris here, and this one here is what I purchased the other day. It cost £29, you know, so compared to the majority of Moras, you know, it is quite high up in their price point. And what I was looking for was a knife which I could actually use just to replace a small little folder. Now, you know, I'm not going to get rid of the folders altogether, but I was looking at something for work, you know, something that's just got a little bit more beef about it. Something I'm going to have to worry if I'm going to do any bits of prying and that kind of thing. But also what I was looking for is a small knife that's also very comfortable to hold in the hand all day. So the steel itself they've actually used, this is 12C27 stainless, very similar to the rest of the Mora companion stainless steel that they've used. I've not actually seen these in a high carbon steel yet, but again, like I mentioned, I purchased it for work, you know, so when I'm dealing a lot with fish, you know, and water, you know, I'm looking for something that's going to be forgiving, you know, when it comes to rust. So the handle itself, pretty much a full size handle, certainly in my hand. I've only got a small hand as it is, and again, this is something I was looking for because sometimes I can have a knife in my hand up to 8 hours a day, and it's just something, you know, nice and comfortable. If that's the case, that I can do the jobs, you know, without worrying with any kind of hand fatigue. The edge itself, you know, I've done nothing to it. It has got quite a bit of a complex grind on it. It starts off here with the Scandi at the back. It looks like a bit of an hollow grind, but what they've done here is continue the edge all the way round, just with this little micro bevel. So if it is, you know, you're worrying about how to sharpen that part or how to sharpen that part, you know, just keep that micro bevel on, you know, and this edge is going to stay, you know, sharp as what it is at the moment. Like I say, this is just a factory edge and just a little bit of paper here. You know, it's not too bad. You know, the stainless itself, you know, there's quite a soft stainless, so I'm led to believe. So unlike other stainlesses, you know, that can be quite hard, just put an edge on, this one shouldn't be too bad. So the overall length of the knife is 5.6 inches, and that's going to make it perfect if it is that you want to wear it as a neck knife or perhaps store it away in a pocket. And the overall length of the blade is 2.3 inches. So that's going to make it, you know, nice and small for any kind of fine carving tasks, skinning game, a little bit of food prep, that kind of thing. And if we just compare it just next to a full-size knife, you can actually just see there just actually how small the Eldris is. So the weight of the knife is 80 grams, again, nice and light. And just going back to the handle, what they've actually used is a PTE solid plastic inner here, which the blade's actually embedded in, and on the outer side here is a PTE rubber, again making it very grippy. You know, and the traction on that's awesome, you know, and hopefully, you know, as that gets wet, you know, whether it's with blood, sweat or water, that, you know, that's going to stay in the hand, you know, without actually slipping out. I'd say out of all the reviews which I've actually seen, you know, the biggest criticism is coming down to the spine of the knife itself. Now, Mora have actually give you a wicked sharp spine on this knife, and again, you know, if you're going to bite with their ferro rod, it's just showing that Mora have had it in mind, you know, this knife's going to be used for fire prep. And again, you know, the sharp spine is going to be perfect for processing down your firewood, but also scraping your ferro rod. But if it says that you do find this spine just a little bit too sharp, certainly if you've got your thumb on the back of it, for any kind of fine carving that you may want to be doing, it'd just be a case of just getting a file and just touching the edges and just rounding them down just a little bit. But again, like I say, you know, for processing your firewood, scraping your ferro rod, you know, this spine's certainly one of the best which I've actually come across. You certainly gain no speed bumps, very light pressure's only needed, and you're getting, you know, loads of sparks coming off your ferro rod every single time. So just testing out the spine of this knife, we're just going to get a little bit of fat wood here. We're just going to process it down and just use the ferro rod. We're just going to see just how easy it works just to get this combusted. It's fair to say after using fat wood that feathers and curls are my next preferred method when it comes to starting fires. Purely for the fact, you know, if you're down in the woods, you're always going to find something available to get your fire started. Not the best feather sticks in the world, they don't need to be. All I've actually done here is just got a couple of small twigs. I've just broke them off just from the underside of the pine trees, and hopefully just by using the ferro rod, but this will get the fire lit, you know, with great ease. So as well as fire prep, I've got every confidence in the Eldris for all the bushcraft tasks which I may do around camp, everything from cutting notches, skinning game, fish, you know, cutting cordage, that kind of thing. Just having a small little knife which you can actually just keep, you know, just in a sheath. Store it away in your jacket, or which I do in my waders when I'm at work. It's just going to make sure they've got a decent knife at hand for any of these jobs when they may arise. And like I mentioned, the reason for buying the Eldris in the first place was a replacement to the folding knife. What I'm looking for is something just a little bit stiffer in the tip, and something which I'm not going to damage if there's any kind of prying. What I've noticed here, just in the tree, just where I've actually got the torque fastened up, there's a nice lump of resin. Again, I can use this knife just to dig this out without any fear of actually bending the tip or actually damaging the knife in any way. So if it is that you're looking for a knife to wear around your neck, or to perhaps use instead of a folding knife, the Mora Eldris seems to fit the bill. And for those of you who may be interested in the Eldris, obviously this is the yellow version here, you can actually get them in other colours. I've seen them in blue, green, purple and black. And again, I've already mentioned the uses which I would use it for. If it is that you've got children and you want to get them used to using a knife, I suppose this kind of thing would be perfect. So there we have you guys, just a quickie on the Mora Eldris. You know, not the cheapest Mora knife in the range. Certainly, you know, quite expensive for the amount of steel which you're getting. But, you know, for the usefulness of the knife, you know, £30 in my opinion, you know, is worth every penny. So like always, that just leaves me to say thanks a lot for you stopping by and watching the video, like always. Until next time, you take care, and I'll see you again.